Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of the Trade Ideas Market Recap. Today is Thursday, February the 20th. My name is Barry Anderson, and I'm the moderator of the trading room. This is the address to get into the trading room. You can log in as a guest, or you can use your Facebook or your Twitter account to log in. The room is open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday to Friday. I'm usually in the room no later than 8:30, though, sometimes 8 o'clock. The room is open 24/7, so if you have any questions you'd like to post in the room, please do so. Maybe a question about the program itself or something you read in the room. Please do so, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Now, before I go on, just a quick mention again about the special that we're offering until the end of the month. Half off if you're a new subscriber to subscribe to Trade Ideas for the first month is only $37.50. That's half price. And also on the Odds Maker, which is a great backtesting tool, normally a $1,100 value, and now at $500. And that's a one-time fee of $500. You keep the tool for life. Now, what I'm going to do now is go over 4 of the trades that I took today that I actually posted in the room. And before we do that, though, I just want to take a quick look at the SPY because in the morning when we came in, this gray area here is the pre-market. So you can see that in the pre-market, the SPY was actually fading a little bit and was bouncing around this area. And then all of a sudden, at this point, around 9 o'clock, the PMI manufacturing index came out and a lot better than it was expected. And that gave the SPY and the market a jolt up. And basically, you can see what happened. It jogged around a little bit at the beginning of the day, but for the most part of the day, it just continued up. A lot of choppiness, but it definitely continued up in an uptrend. The market is not quite closed right now, but again, also all because of the PMI index. Now let's take a look at the first trade that I did today, and this was Skyworks. Let me just back this up a little bit. And again, this is a 2-minute chart, and this is from my one of my custom strategies that I like to use. You can see that Skyworks was alerted to me at 9:44 at the price of 32.36. So it was right around 9:44, right around this area here. And I was able to get into the stock at 32.41. Now, I should tell you that personally, I don't really like taking trades that early in the morning. I like to wait almost half an hour. I mean, I will, I suppose, if the circumstances dictate, but I'm really quick on the trigger. I guess I could say when I'm going to exit a trade early in the morning if I see any sort of weakness, and that's in essence what happened. I did watch it take a nice pop up to 3266, but it just ran out of steam. And I think at that time too, if I brought up the SPY, you could see that the SPY was actually going down at the same time. So I decided to exit the trade at 32.50. So obviously not a great trade. I mean, 9 cents. Fairly quick though, but you see what happened afterwards. It definitely would have been stopped out if I'd put a proper stop, perhaps in this area right here or here. So I would have been stopped out. So I wasn't unhappy to get out of the trade. It did chop around for a long time, and then at the end of the day, probably I lost sight of it a little bit, which is really I should never have done that. I've said in past blogs that these what I get from this custom strategy, I should really follow a lot of them most of the day, and I probably should have seen this area right here and got into the stock, but I think I was wrapped up in some other things, so I did definitely miss it. The second trade for me today was Cons. Now, this was a stock that was here again is the pre-market, and here's where it closed yesterday, and we noticed it. We're talking about it in the room. I mean, this was just completely devastated in the pre-market. It was down, I mean, 20 odd dollars. So, but I had said that I thought this could, this is the type of play that could have a nice bounce in it. Now, I didn't get it here, unfortunately. Again, a little early for me to jump into these sort of trades. But when I saw it go over 38, I did get into it at 38.06, and it really I think it got up to 38.63. It's hard to tell on the scale of this. Let me just maybe make the scale a little bit better. So You can see at 30, I got in at 38.06, and it did have a fairly nice pop almost immediately. I mean, about 10 minutes later. But then as it started plunging down, I thought, okay, I'm just going to get out of it. This was sort of a wild card trade for me. I was looking for obviously a little bit more on the upswing. It didn't happen. So as it started coming down, I took I guess the cautious way out, and again made about 9 cents on it. So again, nothing to speak of. But I look at these trades. I almost feel like I make money when something like this happens because I didn't get stubborn and think, well, it's going to bounce again. And I could have been hurt, a little more, well, fairly significantly here. That's another $1.50 down from when I got out. So I was happy on that exit for sure. Now the next one was TRN, and this was again, when I look at this chart now, I sort of wonder why I got into it. But I know that we had been alerted to this also in the pre-market because, again, if I look at the pre-market, here's where it closed yesterday, and it had a nice swing up. And so again, it was one of the ones that I was looking at. When I saw this expanding 2-minute candle, I decided to get in on it. Now, this was a very spready stock. And what I mean by that is that the difference between the bid and the ask was quite wide. So really ran the risk of having the bottom come out of this. But, it was strong. So I thought, we had a decent shot of it remaining strong for at least a while. And so I did get in at 66.48, and I sold, hard to see here, but I sold the first half at 66.94. Again, when it's coming in, any stock coming into the whole number, I just have worries that it's not going to get through. So I always like to take some profit in case, we just have a collapse off the number. Not a collapse, but just, something that's just going to butt its head up against the whole number. So I usually take some off. And perhaps a little premature because you can see what happened. It just zoomed up immediately, but those are the breaks, I guess. And it chopped around a little bit, and as it went up to this level, I thought, well, perhaps now it could challenge this high, but it didn't. And as it got back down to 66, I think at 66.88, I exited the last half. So I wouldn't call them not a fantastic trade again. I mean, we're talking about say almost 50 cents on each half, 40 cents and a little over 50 cents on the other half, but or less, a little less than 50 cents on this half. But again, today I didn't, as opposed to yesterday. If you watch yesterday's blog, I was commenting how there was a lot more follow through, and I just I didn't see a lot of follow through today. I saw a lot of this action, and again, chopping up and down. And I mean, look at this. Very hard to trade something like this. I mean, if you take a few shares and can hold on, and you have the stomach for large stops, you can get away with some of these. But in this particular case, I was happy enough to get out here. And the last trade was TXT. Now, this was an interesting one for me. Not so much what happened in the trade and all, but first of all, I was alerted to this right around here. And probably what happened is I was alerted to this volume bar right there. And so you can see it was just at 38, and I was watching this for a little while, and then I did lose sight of it. Again, I have other things I do during the day. I answer some emails and all, but I did lose sight of it. But luckily, one of our posters in the room, Matt, and a big shout out to him, he posted, we should be watching this. And so I immediately pulled it up, and when I saw this come down, and then the little red candle here, and then when we got the green candle there, so the little bit of the pullback, I decided to take the stock, and so definitely rewarded. I took the first half out at 38.35, watch it come down, and then I took the second half out at 38.45. Actually, it was up here, and then as it came down, I decided to get out. But Really, I'm drawing your attention to this to just tell you that we've got some great traders in the room, and the whole idea is that I posted the symbol minutes before, maybe 10 minutes before. Matt might have even posted it in this area here, but I know I definitely posted it here. But we have a lot of people watching the stocks, so just that little reminder from him got me into the stock, and it was a fairly stress-free trade. For a choppy day, it wasn't that choppy, until we get to this area. So anyway, that is it for the trades that I took. And again, just to let you know, here is the address to get into the forum. And as I was saying, I encourage you to come into the forum especially if you're a day trader. I mean, we've got a bunch of great traders in there, and we're all trying to help each other. So come on into the room. I think you'll really enjoy it. Good trading tomorrow.